Hello and a warm welcome to everybody. Thank you for joining. I am Magda Baltatu, Vice President International Relations for JCI Bucharest, Romania, and the JCI MAR trainer. JCI Mongolia Academy in Romania is the Romanian branch of the Mongolia Academy, which emerged last year from the twinning agreement between JCI Romania and JCI Mongolia. We are united by a common mission to enhance our skills, train ourselves, and create development opportunities for 500,000 members, contributing to their transformation into global leaders and trainers. We extend a warm welcome to EDC Skill Boosting Counselor Cristina Cerga, JCI Senator and JCI Romania Past President, who initiated the JCI Know-How online training series. This project was launched by JCI Europe with the support of JCI MAR, aiming to tap into the expertise of JCI members worldwide. We have planned a series of 8 know-how online training sessions, which will be recorded and available to all JCI members. These sessions will focus on delivering essential information and skills for JCI leaders and aspiring local, national, and international leaders. This session will be facilitated by Samadi Batbold, a dedicated JCI Mongolia trainer, 2024 JCI Progress President, and the 2025 ASPAC International Alliance's Deputy Director. He holds the position of President at Altai Holding, and we proudly acknowledge him as one of our JCI MAR co-founders. With his extensive experience in chairing and participating in numerous meetings and events, Samadi will guide us through the essentials of the JCI Protocol and demonstrate how to implement it seamlessly. Thank you once again, Trainer Samadi, for graciously accepting our invitation and providing me with this invaluable opportunity to learn alongside you. We also have a few special guests joining us today. Trainer Samadi, may I kindly request you to introduce them? Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining today's training on protocol for events and meetings of JCI. And I'd like to announce our very special guests today, starting with our JCI Secretary General, Kevin Hin, and our JCI Europe Executive Vice President, Manuela Weber.
Hello, everyone.
And thank you again for our JCI Europe EDC Skill Boosting Counselor, Cristina. And I'm very happy to share this experience with our assistant trainer, Magda, as well. So I have a couple of questions for our JCI Secretary General, Kevin, and EVP Manuela. Each of you to answer the same question. And perhaps for the first question, SG Kevin could start. Please, could you, from your opinion, say why the protocol is relevant in JCI?
Thank you, Trainer Samadi. First of all, greetings to everybody from Monaco. It's rainy here, but I'm very happy to be with you to see that everybody has been able to join this session, and a great way to kick off the day today. That's a very, very wide question. I could spend hours answering it, but I'll try to keep my answer short and sweet. Essentially, protocol is something which is essential in all walks of life, not just in JCI. It's also what creates any form of culture, high-level culture, when it comes to business or when you're working with governments or civil society. If you want to be at a high level in any form of society, it's important to understand protocol. These are the codes of society in general. In my example, in the country where I live, in Monaco, protocol is very important. It's a small country where everybody kind of knows each other and where the state is very close to the individuals on the ground, and therefore there's a protocol guide. For example, if we organize events in the national organization, there's a protocol guide exactly on the ranking of protocol, about 100 people listed by rank. Is it a minister, a member of parliament, the prime minister, etc., and how to address them? Is it his or her excellency? Is it Mr. or Mrs.? Is it Madam Minister or Sir or whatever? So this is something which we're raised with in some countries, and in others where the ranking is less prominent but more formal, it is still important in JCI, for example, to maintain a certain level of decorum, since we want to be the foremost global network of young leaders and therefore position ourselves as a benchmark of excellence in terms of education, leading by example in society. Quick example as well, when I was a national president in 2010, I was engaging with a national president from JCI Germany, and I was very, let's for the benefit of the doubt, call him Klaus. And I was very informal with this person. I reached out to him once and said, "Hi Klaus, how are you doing?" And I asked him for some information about some best practices in Germany. Then I got a very cold reply on the email. "Dear 2010 JCI Monaco National President Kevin Hin, thank you for your emails." Okay, so I got the message. You've got to be very formal in this case, and to just in case to dispel any doubt, it's like when you're going to any work meeting. If in doubt, always dress up, wear a suit and tie. It's better than going casual into a formal event, and it's easier to go formal or smart casual to a casual event. So always dress up and always be mindful of protocol. That's what I can say about the importance of protocol in JCI and outside. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary General Kevin, for your personal story of why the protocol is very important, and also the general reason why the protocol is essential for JCI members who are aiming to be leaders in their communities. And I would like to ask the same question for EVP Manuela. Why is protocol relevant in JCI?
Thank you so much, dear trainer and local president Samadi. I thought, before I answer the question, also I have to address a few personal notes, because you know how we have this partnership on JCI Bavaria, JCI Capital, Baden-Württemberg Progress. I hear 10 years or now. And when I see what you do in your partnership, in your training partnership between Romania and Mongolia in this 1 year, I am super impressed, and have to say I'm super proud of the two national organizations, what you do, and also the result today. And I've seen already in the past, in April and March, some other trainings that have happened, and more are to come. So it's really fantastic to see that great work and the preparation and how you manage this also. Really, thank you for this. Great thanks, especially to the key players, I think, in that group here, like IPP and EDC counselor Christina, and the head trainers like Samadi and Magda for organizing it and thinking about all these important topics. Thank you so much. Yeah, why I think protocol is relevant. I mean, for example, if we think about this event right now, we have some national presidents in the room as well, for example. And a protocol can help you to recognize the people and the position. It can be also a great opportunity to explain roles. Like very often, what is EVP? What is that hierarchy? What does it mean? Why is that position important or not important? Why is that person here? Why is that person speaking or maybe not speaking? So protocols can explain a lot. Also in JCI, especially with 1 year to lead, how we are structured and what the positions and the people are. Because even though I know a lot of people in the room, I don't know all of you. So it's the same vice versa. And if you give some person the possibility to be addressed like, yeah, hello, dear national president, the local president, SG, then you know, this is an important person, or that is a person in that role this year. I wanted to talk to that person because of and then I know because of the protocol, this is the person I should go to ask and address my question to, for example. So it gives you an kind of introduction for further exchange in that organization. It can also give you a certain value to the event. So if you invite the president and that president arrives to your event, for example, on a local level, the national president joins you and you say, hello, we have the national president here in the room. I mean, that can give you also value to your local event, because the national president takes the time to come to your event and joins you. So that is also something that you can benefit from it when using that protocol. And yeah, it's also a way of respect, right? I mean, we do this all in our volunteer time. So sometimes it's also nice just to be respected or recognized for the work that we do by just being mentioned as here is this or that person or position present or formally correctly addressed.
Thank you so much, EVP, for that great acknowledgement of our cooperation and joint training, and also for the highlighting and outlining why it's important to make people stand out and using these titles and the importance of protocol in understanding the kind of event and the kind of programs we are conducting. So I'd like to move on to the next question, which is, what do you think are the main barriers for implementing protocol at JCI meetings and events? And I'd like for Manuela to start.
I think it's like three main things that keep us. One thing is we don't know. Simply, we have no clue what a protocol is. So it's it's just a matter of not knowing about that. Another reason is we don't have the practice. 1 year to lead, it's the first time in the position, it's the first time to invite a president. So yeah, how should I address that person? And then the third is, oh, I'm afraid I'll do a mistake. So how should I do this? And then better I don't do before I do it in a wrong way. This is what I think are the main barriers. And so it's fantastic that you do this training today because it gives this understanding and the knowledge, and I think also some practice, right? Or at least it takes the being afraid, the fearness from us. So when we do it, it can also be that we do some mistakes in the protocols for the first time, but it's always also good to have someone else who has some more experience to just give some hints. So I know it also from myself when being the first time in this situation to do the greeting with all the protocols, and then I missed a person. So yeah, it happened. And afterwards, a senator came to me and said, you missed that person. So, okay, thank you for that feedback. Good point. So next time I don't forget it anymore because I now have learned it. So I think this training is really a very good opportunity to work on these, in my opinion, reasons.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's important that we learn by doing, and making mistakes is also one of the best forms of learning. And same question to you, SG Kevin. What do you think are the main reasons for having difficulty in implementing protocol at JCI?
Implementing protocol at JCI international events comes down to the protocol that is learnt at local and national levels. So the basic responsibility for implementing protocol is for it to be done at local and national level first before implementing at JCI events. And that's why it's very important to have some form of minimal protocol education. One thing I always learned when I was a junior member who had just joined was the level of protocol in my local organization, how they basically everybody wore the JCI pin on the left-hand side and the badge on the right-hand side, how everybody made sure that everything was impeccable when it came to the local organization branding everywhere, just like what trainer Samadi is wearing now. In Mongolia, everybody promotes the brand of JCI when they're wearing, just like I always wear my pin, even when I'm not at a JCI event. So yeah, it's that kind of small detail which is important, and then when people go to international events, they also see that protocol is very important. So the main barrier to it, to not respecting protocol, is advanced education. This advanced education is very important. Another important factor is for the leaders to lead by example. As I mentioned, it's the way they dress, the way they behave, the way they address others, like EVP Manuela mentioned. It's very easy to forget a name, and even those who are most experienced at it can make mistakes. So advanced preparation is incredibly important when it comes to that as well, and never dropping your guard, basically, when it comes to protocol. But as I mentioned, this protocol is essential to be able to bridge cultural barriers as well, which is why it's even more important at international level to be able to apply it properly. And it's a great way to avoid offending people unnecessarily if you basically enter from the top. It's what we do at JCI. We recruit members by entering from the top. We create new national organizations by entering from the top, and therefore we need to address protocol through the top as well by promoting high standards of excellence at all levels and avoiding informality. Thank you.
Thank you, SG, for that detailed answer. I'd like to move on to our last question for our special guests. There's always this increasing trendy talk about Generation Z or Generation Z. And I think this has kind of taken over the world, where management and higher level people in their organizations, they are always mentioning this difficulty with dealing with and working together with the Generation Z, the young generation that are coming up. And I wanted to ask, what do you think the friction is between Generation Z and the other older generations, and how we can help young members understand and follow the protocol? And I'd like SG Kevin to start, please.
I think there's a general misconception, and we generalize Generation Z. First of all, Generation Z, the way they behave is different from one part of the world to the other. If you take a Generation Z member in the Western world, in Europe and North America, the way they behave is different, maybe to the way somebody would behave in India or in China or in other parts of the world as well. So it's difficult to generalize by a whole generation around the world in such a manner. It also depends on culture and upbringing, etc. But at the end of the day, Generation Z is 20-year-olds, and we know that 20-year-olds have always been 25-year-olds have always been rebellious beyond generations. The only characteristic of Generation Z is that they were brought up in a fully digital world at the start, and that's the only main difference. So the way we would address it, I would recommend to address it, is just education. Of course, no rebellious 20-year-olds want to be imposed something top down by elders. We're all this way. Some of you are still in your 20s. I unfortunately am not, but I remember when that was the case. I didn't want to get top down orders without any explanation. But when I was given explanations about the why and the purpose and what's the main point behind it and how can it help me and what's in it for me, then it actually did help, and I was able to understand why my elders recommended to do it that way. And this is a recipe that we still apply and which still works. Basically explaining the why, giving an explanation, and being transparent about things. And I believe that this is the best way to help young people address protocol, explaining why it is important for the reasons we mentioned above, how it can help further them in their professional lives and become leaders in government, business and civil society, which is the main goal of JCI through the 4 areas of opportunity and the leadership journey, which we all are taking part in right now. Thank you.
Thank you, SG Kevin. And EVP Manuela?
It's a very good question. That Generation Z takes a lot of time and focus from our side, and I agree with the Secretary General that I don't think that all Generation Z people do think and behave the exactly same way. How I perceive the Generation Z is the question for more, why am I doing this? What is the sense of it, the goal? So what is the meaning behind it or the added value? And so I think that it's more like explaining what is the benefit of using a protocol. So how can that make their lives easier in a professional life maybe, but of course also in JCI, so that this would give an easier access to using the protocol. And again, as I said, it's fantastic that you tackle this topic and so that you offer and provide a training for this, because I also think that this is one of the reasons for Generation Z. It's the young people with not much experience yet on protocol. So how can I actually use it? And so I think it's a lot to Generation Z related to the questions we had before with the knowledge. It's with seeing the benefits of it. We have no disappointment or less disappointment maybe later from some people that were not mentioned or not addressed the correct way. Maybe people don't answer because they feel like not respected properly. So and there's no feedback. So then you don't know why you can't get further and get no response from that person. And it's simply because you have misunderstood or the protocols are not respected the protocol, and it's nothing related to the topic itself. So I'm happy that you do that training because I think that also helps all the generations, every one of us to further improve and have also fun with using the protocols at the end.
Thank you, EVP Manuela, for mentioning that you could also have fun with protocol. Thank you for joining us for this joint training for JCI Europe, together with JCI Mongolia Academy and the MAR Mongolia Academy established in Romania. I'd also invite you to maybe perhaps give some remarks or give a small talk about anything you want to highlight to us. And after that, we will move on with the main part of our training. So first, I'll invite SG Kevin.
First of all, thank you very much for having me. I'm delighted to see so many members from all around Europe, but also outside of Europe, Asia Pacific. I see Africa and the Middle East as well. I see some national protocol officers or former national protocol officers on this call too. So this is a very relevant topic beyond boundaries of continents and areas. What I want to say is that indeed, protocol is the ideal way to bridge the gap when you're in doubt. So it's a key part. And I know that in some parts of the world, protocol is misunderstood as being old-fashioned and not adapted to the new generations of people. But on the contrary, I firmly believe that this is what keeps JCI strong. The fact that we have high standards, high levels, and if we leave our standards to slip, we will no longer be relevant. So it's very important to really keep standing up on the values on which we are based. This also involves strong education of our members on the ground. So for all the local presidents who are here and national officers, I really invite you to keep putting protocol at the heart of everything we do. And this is something which we really want to increase our protocol trainings, even at JCI global level as well. We already have a chairing and parliamentary procedure training, which again is here to implement high standards and keep efficient meetings. And anything regarding training or education, this is something which I really invite you to do. I'd like to thank again all the trainers for this wonderful academy which is taking place, and the Mongolian Academy in Romania is a great idea of cross-area collaboration, and I really hope that we'll be able to continue in this light. Really keep seeing JCI as a pole of excellence in terms of leadership development, and don't let our standards slip. Thank you.
Thank you very much, SG. EVP Manuela, please.
I think everything has been said already, more or less. So I can really say that I'm super grateful that you take this topic for the further training. I'm curious about the further feedback afterwards. I'm sorry that I cannot participate, that I have to go for another business meeting very soon, but I'm really curious how you set up the whole training. And as actually Kevin mentioned, we have the parliamentary procedures, but I think this is morely for the meetings. The protocols training that you do is for every occasion. Whenever you have to, or whenever you organize something, you can even use this in your private life. So I wish you a lot of enjoyment with that training, a lot of practice and good feeling. There's no being afraid of using the protocols. Just use it and try it. And also, especially from a European perspective, we all know this dear President, dear, all protocols observed. Maybe we also find a more convenient, a nicer way how we start our speeches, for example, that makes it also easygoing for the listeners to not only respect the protocol, but also make it in fun or a joy for the listeners, for the audience to listen to the protocols as well. It can be also fun. Yeah. So thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you so much for the organization again. And have a good rest of the training and afternoon, evening for today.
Thank you very much. And thank you for taking the time and joining us for this training and giving your insights, EVP Manuela, and also Secretary General Kevin. Before we start the formal training, just like to remind everyone of the online norms that we want to promote, such as asking questions, being curious, and keeping your camera on. If you still remember how we used to do all those online meetings from the COVID days, it's easier for us and kind of very convenient for us to connect online, still continuing very strongly. And we'll have a very open question and answer session. So at the end as well, but during the trainings, at any point, if you would like to clarify something or ask something, please do, because there is a good chance that someone else will also be having the same question. So there's no bad question or anything that you should hesitate. And therefore, please be free and be curious. In today's objectives, we have main objective of understanding the JCI protocol and the JCI protocol checklists for meetings and events. And also we'll learn some protocol setup and tips on how to apply it correctly, because there could be many different cultural differences, national organization and country differences that does not always fall within the JCI protocol. So who can tell me an example of a meaning of protocol?
Maybe I can start.
Yes, please.
Hello, everyone. Firstly, actually, for the protocol, I feel like we have so many cultural differences between each countries. So if we follow one protocol in our community, we don't have the misunderstandings. So it means acting one to me, protocol.
So it's keeping our understanding the same. So whichever place we are, we can understand each other more easily, right? Thank you very much for that answer. Isunge is raising his hand.
I think it's a guidebook for you to follow in any situation, given that you can act. So it's like a Bible for you for any JCI events.
Very strong example of a guidebook. Thank you very much for that example. It is an easy way for us to, like this training we are doing today, so that we can get on the same page. And whenever we meet for official meetings and protocols, and maybe even in unofficial settings, how we can conduct ourselves and communicate with each other, so that even if we're from different regions, from different countries, or even within different local organizations, we have different cultures, and it allows us to have easier understanding of each other. And like our EVP Manuela said earlier, understanding what kind of level official there is participating, and the level or the kind of events we are participating in, and get a very easy sense of where we are and how we should conduct ourselves. So protocol is generally an accepted code of etiquette and precedence within a particular group or entity such as JCI, and expected and acceptable way of behaving, giving the setting that we will be conducting. The general rule of protocol is that the guests and the participants follow the rules of the house. And in JCI, we try to keep those rules and norms uniform. So a local president or local board member or local member coming from Africa or the Middle East, attending an event somewhere in Asia, they do not feel out of place. They quickly understand where to sit, how to conduct themselves. And the common term called when in Rome, do as Romans do. So it's important that we keep to or have a sense of sensitivity to understanding also the nuances and the intricacy of different cultures in the different countries that we will be meeting in. And sometimes within countries, we have different cultures depending on the region of where we are. And for JCI activities, can you give an example of where you thought that the protocol should be used, or if it's not being used enough?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I think the best example all of us, we can imagine in that great moment when there is a group of people trying to make a photo.
We perhaps need even protocols and guide for how to take a photograph in JCI, right? So that everyone who may see those photos, whether it's within your national organization or in the wider JCI, they kind of get a sense of who's who within the photo. And we usually like to say that if there is no photo, it means that it didn't happen. Because usually the only thing that's left from any event is the photo. Everything else is usually left in the memory of those who participated, but our memories are not so strong. Anybody else who'd like to have an answer or suggestion?
So yes, I guess when we have events including stakeholders from outside, that's the most important, because as you said, it settles everything. Actually, it's like showing your passport before getting in a plane, knowing who is who and who does what, and going straight to the point once we know that who is in the room actually.
So it allows us to quickly get into same understanding, same page, so that we can concentrate on the subject of the meeting or the event, right?
Exactly.
And member from JCI Turkey.
Actually, I agree with everyone, of course. And plus, I think in my local organization, we give importance to use protocol rules, especially in the candidate members events, especially the first events of them, so they can learn the JCI protocol and the culture. And of course, in social events, we don't use that much, but in national summits or national, international events is the most important, of course.
Thank you very much, Uyku. We use protocol in all different types of meetings, whether it's official and sometimes unofficial events, programs, and especially ceremonies, such as, like Uyku said, the national events are very important to utilize the protocol because you have all members from different kind of local organizations. And within our communications, including digital, verbal, nonverbal, all kinds of our communications, we should always keep a good standard of protocol, because it's also a very important form of just being very respectful. And most of us respond well when others are being respectful to us. And like they say, you have to give respect to receive respect. And especially in official visits, we have cross-border local sisterships and also national sisterships, but in international events, especially on the national level and the international level, a high degree of protocol is necessary for everyone to get a sense of how to conduct themselves, get a sense of who they are meeting, what kind of level person we are meeting. So like SG Kevin mentioned before, we have some local level members who usually join from the top because perhaps it's a new local organization, and those who had not had the experience of being local president or in the national organization, they are propelled or have the opportunity to operate on the executive committee level, and because perhaps they could be not so long members of JCI, they perhaps might not know all the intricacies of the protocol that we're observing. But even if you're new to it and you have not been trained or have not had so much exposure on how to conduct in a well protocol manner, it is very fast and effective training to just learn by doing. And like EVP Manuela said earlier, sometimes she would have past presidents or senators come up to her after saying that maybe perhaps they've missed someone in announcing the special attendees, or they've missed a particular order of things, or forgot to mention something that has to be mentioned in a particular way. And all these things we have to consider in our events and communications. So in JCI, we have a particular language, so kind of our own language. Do we feel that we have a certain language in JCI? Are there certain terms that you feel is unclear and always confusing, or some things you think you should be made aware of, especially when you're starting in JCI?
Titles. I believe we have to learn titles first.
Yeah, some of our titles are kind of used interchangeably sometimes and could be difficult to understand if they mean the same position or there's levels above and below. Thank you, Oiku. Anybody else have some difficulties with the language that we use in JCI?
Yes, I would like to say.
Yes, NP?
Yes, I don't have any more problems with understanding that, but when there are new people coming to JCI, I think for them it's very difficult to understand when we say, for example, titles of all the area conferences like ASPAC, EC. I think they're like totally lost. What are we talking about? So we have to remember that they are not familiar with all those like short, how we call them?
Abbreviations.
Yes, so I think sometimes maybe it's worse like either saying full sentence, for example, European conference, so person who is not familiar understands what we talk about, or just like explain it. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, we have a lot of abbreviated letters, and it's almost as if we have our own code language, right? You might have noticed earlier I was interchangeably using the Secretary General and SG, Executive Vice President and EVP. Once you've spent some time in JCI and you learn the words of those abbreviation, those letters, it becomes easier to just use the abbreviated letters because it saves us from saying very long-winded, very perhaps maybe sometimes complicated titles, but those titles are very important and very important for us to highlight in our communication, because it shows that we understand the protocol and we understand what people are doing within JCI. And as you progress from local organization to national organization and on the international stage, there are so many layers of those positions and titles and roles that we have to keep track and kind of increase our vocabulary in JCI language. So just to give you get a good sense of our participants and how well they know the JCI language, our assistant trainer Magda, she has prepared a short quiz. And so please, Magda, could you explain and how we should go through this part of the training with the quiz about the JCI language.
Thank you, Trainer Samadi. Okay, so let's see how familiar we are with some basic JCI abbreviation. You can scan the QR code with your phone, or if you are logging in from the laptop, go to menti.com and insert the code on the screen. This was our quiz. Now Trainer Samadi can take over and continue with the training.
Thank you, Magda. So it looks like from all the answers, we have most of our members are well versed with the JCI language, and I'm quite impressed because some of those answers were quite tricky, like conference and convention. So we see that in the next slide, apart from those examples in the quiz, there are many other abbreviated letters that we use as our JCI language when we're referring to titles, persons, or our events. Our assistant trainer, Magda, asked to convey the difference between a conference and a convention. So usually we have our area conferences. The set way that JCI does its area conferences is choosing a host city and local organization to organize the area conference in a different place every year. So the reason for doing this is to give those local organizations and national organizations who will be hosts to organize a large-scale international event, international conference, so that its members get exposure in how to organize, first of all, large-scale event, and second of all, in order to understand JCI more through collaborating and working very closely with the JCI HQ headquarters, and also with other national organizations and local organizations in order to bring members from all over the world to those area conferences and World Congress. The main difference between a conference and a convention is national conventions and local organization conventions. They are designed geared more towards members and setting agendas for the next year, such as running elections for the next year's executive committee of the local and national organization, and setting the agendas and giving reports on the previous year, so that they can have feedback and an analysis on the past year and set their agendas and plans for the next year. Whereas conferences is for more informational purposes, so that all those who attend, they can have the same information encompassing a larger body. So like our area conferences, we will have the General Assembly and trainings and other events and programs that aim to give our members more information about JCI, how we could better collaborate, and giving reports for the national organization reports, so that we get a sense of what each national organization is doing and getting up to, so that we can be better examples to each other and learn from each other and share best practices where there won't be much decision-making going on and setting agendas for the next year, but more of a collaborative and common information gathering event. And if you look down the list, perhaps you may have questions about particular titles or abbreviations where you'd like to get a more explanation. So I'll let people look over the list, and maybe you have questions about what it entails. Maybe you'd like some more information about it, or something catches your eye that you're more curious about. Okay, CL Christina.
What a special assistant does?
Special assistants are, so you have the difference between a PA and a special assistant is PA is more for the person, but the special assistant is more for a certain assigned direction or category or certain program or perhaps a certain task. PA is assisting the person in all that they do, whereas the special assistant is assigned to a specific task or program. For example, this year's we have a special assistant for the Shadow the President program, and we have a JCI Mongolia member called Narko, who is a special assistant to the world president for conducting that program in 2024. So he will be in charge of assigning and coordinating and making sure that the Shadow the President program is running smoothly, that we have a lot of good inquisitive and active members participating in that program. So that is one example of a special assistant. Have we all heard about the Shadow the President program?
Yes.
And if you haven't, please look it up, and it will be a very good program to be part of. We've had one very successful participation in Romania recently when the world president visited, and also in Macau during the Senate Golf at the end of March. Oiku, you had a raised hand?
Yeah, actually, I had the same question, but now you answered, and then I wondered that if anyone can have special or personal assistant, or only, I don't know, the world president or national president can have, maybe.
Yeah, so in JCI, the HQ usually has programs, events, certain protocols, and organizational structure through the many years that it's been operating. And in certain cases, usually they take example from a local organization or a national organization. Sometimes it has already been quite set in JCI in the HQ for a long time. And how the JCI HQ set up could be used as an inspiration for national and local organizations. For example, in JCI Mongolia, in 2021, we had a special assistant to the national president, one person doing that job. But at that time, I was not so active in JCI yet, and it was not clear what that guy does. But it was a position that year's national president thought was necessary in order to encompass or take care of things that did not exactly fall in the job description of the Secretary General. His main role was to cover things that was not strictly covered by the Secretary General, whose job is quite set clearly because it's used in all the local, national, and international level. But the SA is not used in all levels in all countries. So you could take it as an example and even perhaps implement it in the local organization, but more usually it's on the international maybe and then national level, because they are predominantly used to take care of programs that will run the year long.
Okay, thank you.
JCI Tunisia, Nada?
Yes, Nada. Thank you for giving me the chance to speak. So I'm wondering, what is the chairperson and the development officer? What are their missions, and what is their title exactly?
So chairpersons are people in charge of committees, and usually in national organizations and local organizations and internationally, we have committees that are running certain programs, and they work as a team. And the reason why we have committees, for example, on the international level, the committee members are made up of members from different regions. So the international committee is represented in all the different areas of JCI, and they can work together to implement the committee's goals and programs on the global scale by cooperating between the areas, and those committee members can focus on that particular program in order to make it available to JCI members all across the world, such as the Human Duties Committee, JCI Foundation Committee. You might have heard some of these before, and we have, I think, over 8, sometimes the years vary, but over 8 international committees. And in JCI Mongolia's example, we have committees set up for particular programs or for our national flagship projects. So members from different local organizations can participate in those committees in order for that project or program to be successfully run. And the reason why we have committees that include from different local organizations and in the international level from different national organizations is for our members to get exposure to working with people from other organizations within JCI. So they get a broader sense, broader picture, perspective of JCI rather than just being focused on the local organization or the national organization. Okay, thank you for the question. Sami from Organizing Germany.
Yes, thank you very much. I would like to know what are the 10 outstanding young persons, TOYP?
Yeah, TOYP is a program that was initiated from JCI Taiwan, I believe, over 40 years ago. And this is a program that JCI wants to run in every national organization. And the aim of the TOYP is to identify not so well-known young outstanding persons from each country in 10 different categories who does not have to be a JCI member, but in the case that they are not a JCI member, the idea of TOYP is to use that outstanding young person as an ambassador for JCI. So in Taiwan's case, for example, and also in Hong Kong, the TOYP has become a very prestigious awards program. When they announced the 10 outstanding young persons, it is nationally well known, and that business leaders and political leaders and the society has a good recognition of those 10 outstanding young persons each year, who are identified each year from 10 different categories, and those 10 categories are set. And like our awards program within JCI, the 10 outstanding young persons also has a national and international aspect. So the 10 outstanding young person from a national organization, they are open to be nominated for becoming the 10 outstanding young person in their area, and from their area on the World Congress level. I hope that answers your question. Thank you, Sami. Salma from JCI Tunisia.
I would like to know the difference between a development officer and a growth development director.
Thank you very much for the question, Salma. So development officer, I think we had the question from Nada as well about the development officer. The development officer is a person assigned to the development council of that region or that country. And their job is to spread the idea and the principles and the concept and spread the idea of JCI and to open new local organizations and national organizations. So their job is to help local communities understand the importance of JCI and how to start JCI where it does not exist yet. The growth development director is usually someone who is assigned to each area, and their job is to take care of the area conference World Congress and to liaise and work together closely with the national presidents, national organizations, in order for those area conferences to run smoothly and also to keep the information to flow freely between national organizations and the headquarters. So whatever that year's JCI action plan is, it's up to the Growth and Development Director for national organizations to understand and to pass on the message and work on those goals in their national organizations.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the questions. Main part where all these protocol requirements start to come into play is the kind of people that will be included in those meetings and events. And you have to ask yourself who you should invite as a VIP guest. Can someone tell me the importance of having a VIP guest in the first place? Or maybe perhaps what you would consider is a VIP guest? Okay, we'll start with Oiku.
I'm kind of afraid of telling what I will say. As VIP guest, maybe actually we see our senators as our VIP guests when they come to our events. Also people from outside of JCI who are professional or, I don't know, academics from universities. And how can we decide who will come? Actually, the important thing is what is the aim of the event, and we use them as an opportunity in being JCI, because as a normal person, maybe I can't invite someone in an event, but as JCI, it's a non-profit organization, so people come, so we can reach people that we normally can't reach. So it's the opportunity for us, I believe.
Thank you very much. That's a very important point. Having using the organization to invite members or guests who you may not be able to meet in a personal level, and it gives other members also the opportunity to learn and hear and see from their example, right? Thank you very much, Joiku. Nada, please.
Yeah, thank you. So I think it depends on the meeting or the event to invite the important people. I think sponsors or partners are important to have in events, local events. The government, important people, senators, or maybe the national president. But also it depends on the importance of the meeting. It's very important to have VIP guests because it gives more meaning to the event or the meeting, and it's it will be more known on the national level and also maybe international level also.
Thank you very much. That's also a very good point where we have to tailor who we invite as our VIP guest depending on the kind of event, kind of meeting, and the kind of visit we may have, right? This is a very important point to consider. For example, maybe we will have a different type of person to invite for a training in a local organization, or maybe it's the national convention, right? We have to perhaps invite a different level of a VIP guest in order to make the event also more prestigious or respectable. And some guests could be a driving force for more participation. You could invite someone famous, and many people will come who are probably, maybe perhaps not also JCI members, but because that person is well known, people are attracted to that event and they get to explore or be exposed to JCI through that example. Let's say we have invited our VIP guest, we've set the kind of goal on what kind of meeting or event we will have. What are the things that we should consider as a protocol checklist if we will conduct this event or meeting before the meeting happens? We're talking about inviting guests, so perhaps we need to prepare certain types of invitations, whether it's by mail, by delivering it in person maybe, or sending them a text. What else could we do before the event or the meeting that we should cover?
Maybe name tags for everyone and for the VIP guests.
Thank you. So some preparation materials, right? To help the meeting go along smoothly.
Also, generally in Turkey, they would like to us to go and take them by car or a VIP car. We need to manage those things, that what they ask from us, what they are expecting from us, because they are not taking money, but we can just give some, I don't know, chic things to them.
We can give them a good experience since they're already giving their time and energy, giving them a good treatment. So perhaps it can be a reason for them to be open to come again as a guest, or be a JCI brand ambassador. Any other things that we might need to prepare for a very well protocoled meeting or event?
And I believe we need to assign the places they will sit. It can be a table or it can be just couches. So they know when they come in the saloon or the place where will they sit and stay.
Yeah. So the organizers need to prepare and plan for where people will sit so that there's no confusion once people arrive and the meeting or the event can start smoothly, right? Thank you. And Nada from JCI Tunisia?
Yes, so before inviting the guests, I think we can invite them by sending emails, by being present, by visiting other GCI meetings or events to talk about, the event that we are having. And on the day of the event, we do this as a tradition. We offer them some flowers to welcome them. Yes, and we can also give them a little gift as a welcome.
Wow. Thank you for that example. It's quite a nice touch so that when people arrive to the meeting or event, they have a already up mood and a very nice welcome so that they can enjoy or being in a better mood. Perhaps they're coming from a long, stressful day at work. So in protocol checklists, generally, first of all, we need to set the agenda so that as with the planning for where people are sitting, people know what will be discussed, if there's decisions to be made, or what kind of meeting schedule they will have, or the event. And assigning a PA. So this can be interchangeably used maybe perhaps with the SA. So usually this role is given to the SG because in the local and the national organizations, the Secretary General is usually the one in charge of large-scale events and meetings, but they don't have to do everything personally. They assign their board members or especially assigned vice presidents or perhaps, like we mentioned earlier, committee chairpersons who may be the one in charge or responsible for the direction of the meeting or the event. And that person will be the point person in order to keep track of all the preparations, invitations, how they will receive the participants and guests, how the meeting and the event will be conducted, and after whatever goes on during that event or meeting, that person will be in charge of organizing, executing, and taking care of any challenges that might arise during those processes. And the protocol checklist, like we said earlier, one important part we shouldn't miss is the gift giving. If we have special guests, or perhaps you're doing a board meeting on the local level and you have a monthly or some kind of birthday celebrations, something like that. Since everyone is gathered, it's nice to include those kind of touches and to have a photo, since if you don't have a photo, it didn't happen. So protocol practices for participants that we should be always aware of is informing your guests about the kind of dress code the event or meeting will have. Because sometimes people can be maybe overdressed and underdressed, and it creates uncomfortable feeling for those participants because they become very conscious of how they appear compared to everyone else who is attending the event or meeting. And the suggested time of arrival, always reminding people, there's no being on time. You're either early or you're late. So it's best to advise that they come early and maybe give them notices of particular complexity with arriving to the venue. Sometimes you are meeting somewhere or doing an event that is in a large structure that has many other rooms or venues. And so you need to give clear directions, clear instructions on, where to park, how to proceed to where your event or meeting is taking place. And like Oiku's example, maybe, you have people to greet or even go and pick them up. Perhaps you have someone flying in and going straight to the meeting. Then maybe it will be nice if they are met at the airport and taken directly to the meeting. And seating arrangements, like Nara said earlier, and the order of speakers also, if they are given advance notice, if they would be making a speech, if they would be participating in speaking in the dialogue, and in what order, and the topic of what they should say, or who they would be addressing. And those are all helpful tips we can give our participants. And here we have some extra tips. One important general aspect we should keep in mind is the pre-meeting arrangements. So securing the venue, making sure that the equipment and things that will be used during the meeting, such as the name tags and placements, maybe perhaps chairs and tables or stage, the stage setup and sound, checks and all these things, and lighting, depending on the venue event. You have to make sure that it is capable to run your meeting or event smoothly. Signage, banners, having the gifts ready. Maybe if there's presentations, making sure that the computer and the device used to connect with the venue is also working. They have the proper wiring. All these things you have to consider in order to have small or little hiccups during the event or meeting, so people's experience is not diminished, and their time, their valued time can be spent well in a well-organized event or meeting. And these things are important because in JCI, especially during the inauguration ceremonies, national conventions, general assemblies, and maybe if you're also having a joint board meeting, how well you keep up with protocol is usually used as a sign or a benchmark to gauge or measure you against a set standard. And sometimes those standards can be different depending on the areas and depending on the national organizations. Generally, we consider Europe to be quite relaxed, and Asian countries more strict on protocol. And there's always good and bad things associated with both those spectrums, but generally we don't want to be conducting events and meetings below sort of the minimum protocol requirement. And as long as you adhere to the essentials, you're not in danger of offending or being seen as too relaxed. But if maybe you fall below those protocol requirements that is expected in JCI, then you might seem like a weak organization, or maybe compared to other organizations, or seen as not professional enough, or not JCI enough, or not ready to move on to different level. So it's very important to consider. In terms of visits, you have international guests or perhaps even from other local organizations, and it's important how you receive your guests. That determines how long maybe or how well your cooperation and how you work together. It's well determined by the protocol that you adhere to in those instances. So in most Asian JCI national organizations and local organizations, when we receive our sisterships or international guests, it's very customary for us to go to the airport with banners and signage to receive them. And usually, especially if it's just food, drinks, maybe small things during their stay, we would, cover their expenses. Perhaps it's just the local president or national president personally covering them, or as a team, whatever the case might be. It's quite customary for us to conduct those visits and to keep that kind of protocol. And other important part of JCI protocol is gifts. Usually you want to leave something, like we said earlier, perhaps maybe small gifts when they arrive or leave events and meetings. Those can leave quite lasting impressions if they are quite well chosen, and maybe the other side appreciates it. It's a nice gesture. Sometimes people give very large gifts because they really want to give a nice gift, but especially in area conferences where maybe there's a lot of gift exchanges going on, it's very difficult to bring all those things back home. And in some cases, people leave a lot of gifts at their hotel rooms because it just doesn't fit in their luggage, or they can't have any extra pieces while traveling. So please keep that in mind. Usually the smaller and tastier, the better. So that's a small tip that a lot of Taiwanese, Hong Kong, and Philippines and Japanese are now very become standard, where they give snacks as gifts in these large area conferences and gatherings. So I'll quickly go over the meeting and event checklists. When you're going through meetings, you call the meeting to order, announce to everyone whether the meeting is starting soon, 5 minutes, 1 minute, and people can take their places. And the JCI Creed, mission, and vision is always read and during those meetings, especially official meetings. And roll call is called for the participants to determine the members who have voting rights and also those who are in attendance, and to approve the agenda that is previously sent out to everybody, and opening speech by usually the special guest and the meeting chair, and introduce honored guests who might also be in attendance. Then the meeting agenda is run through. Whatever is included in the agenda, it's run in the order. In JCI Mongolia, we run our meetings using the Robert's Rule of Order, and this is to make sure that the meeting is run smoothly, the minorities given a chance to speak and oppose certain items, and everyone is given a chance to speak and give their opinion, but also not to the level that the meeting runs too long. And this allows for a very efficient meeting style. And then any other business or announcements that may be appropriate for to be used during the meeting, and approve or confirm the next meeting date. So always leaving the meeting with the next meeting set on the date so everyone knows. And the closing speech, and the meeting is adjourned, and perhaps you have some gift exchange if it's a joint board meeting or a meeting with guests from a different organization or international. And lastly, the photo session, because if there is no photo, it didn't happen. And for events, slight change, but general structure is kept the same. The host or MC is announcing that the event is starting. National anthem is usually played in events. Then the JCI Creed, mission, and vision. Announcement of the honor guests or VIP guests. The opening speech, or if there's multiple people speaking in the right speaking order, they give speeches. And the event program ensues, and the closing speech, usually by the organizing director or the host, and then a photo session with however many people there are in attendance. Sometimes this photo can become a very large group photo. So next thing is quite a long list of how the JCI speaking order is. And because usually we have always guests or people in attendance who have many titles and positions, we try to give the appropriate respect and recognition for those in attendance, because however small or big the event we attend, if we're on the level to be recognized, it's very important that we are recognized so that people know we are in attendance, we are making the time, we are making the effort in order to learn, take those opportunities, or give learning and giving opportunities to others. And this speaking order is not strictly, you don't have to adhere and have, doesn't mean you have to invite everyone in these kind of levels. But if in the most sense, everyone on these levels are there, this would be the order. For example, if the head of state of the host country is there, is invited, then that person will be the first to speak. Then the high-ranking officials such as elected officials, members of parliament, ministers, then ambassadors from who are stationed or on a mission in that country, and JCI presidents, world president or past JCI presidents and executive committee or vice presidents who are present, government officials, those who are not ministerial, those who are not ministers, but below, such as deputy ministers or department heads or agency directors. And then we announced the national president. And in most national events, it would start from number 6, where you start from announcing that year's national president, and you mention if the founder is there or if the past presidents are there. And if there are a few past presidents, you could name them by name. But if there are many, you could just say past presidents in a plural sense. And JCI committee members, such as I mentioned before, if you have JCI committee, for example, skills development committee, chairperson or members, or JCI human duties or any of those committees, the chairperson is announced first, and then the members, and any persons from JCI HQ, such as JCI SG Kevin or EVP Manuela, and then JCI APTC or ADC chairpersons, and local presidents and past presidents, local executive committee and board directors, national organization committee chairpersons or advisory members, and national organization senate president or chairperson, then JCI APTC CL, the counselor. So in our case, if we had everybody in attendance, our EDCCL Christina, she would be mentioned in the 15th turn. And JCI national, we have our National Mongolian Development Council. So it operates very much like the European Development or Asia Pacific Development Council. And we have the substructural organization JCI Mongolia Academy, advisory council members, and the APTC development officers and Mongolian development officers, then the JCI Mongolia Academy trainers or judges, then JCI Mongolia Awards Committee officers, and lastly, the JCI senators, members, and potential members. So in national organization events, in most cases, you would have number 6, 7, 11, maybe 16, and then probably straight to 22. So it's not that everyone has to be there, but if they are in attendance, this is the kind of order we should adhere to. Yeah, so with protocol, one very important thing is the cultural expectations and adhering to cultural nuances and differences between members. And when we're eating, how we should approach these kind of situations where you're not so sure about how, people conduct themselves. Because in most cases, when you behave or conduct yourself in the way you do at home, usually there's one or two things that could be offensive or disrespectful in other cultures, such as maybe speaking out of turn or being very free, basically. In the Asian countries, when the guest is very free with, how they conduct themselves, it's considered quite rude because in Asian cultures, we usually look to the highest level person to start conversations, to maybe say something, and then it's like an opening for others to continue or join. But it's not okay if maybe you're starting with the lower positions or from guests, and not because the guest is being rude, but it's like shameful that the guest had to start, or lower position person had to start. It's like losing face. So everything, it's like as if the higher titled or positioned person didn't adhere to the protocol or did not keep the proper way of starting the meeting or event. I would say from all this, one important thing to always keep in mind is to be proactive and brave when you're, trying things, and if things are offered to you. It's not polite to, maybe because you're scared or you haven't tried it before or you're not sure how to conduct yourself or do some things. It's quite easy to say, oh no, it's okay, I won't try, don't worry. But that kind of answer is usually taken as maybe you're not being very open to try things and to try to build the relationship. And it's better to brave yourself and try to be proactive and try to say, I'd like to try these things, I'd like to do these things, whatever is the local custom, whatever is the local authentic food, please provide that for me. And that will be seen as you being very open to a good relationship and for a good sustained cooperation in the future. And trying to say common words, even if you can't pronounce it well or not. And usually, in my experience, the worse you pronounce it, and at least even if you try, that is usually kind of the disarming secret to creating a good rapport and good relationship with people from different cultures, because it shows that even you're open to make yourself look like a fool in order to have to make that first step in creating a good relationship. Etiquette for seatings, body language, eating, speaking. In Asia, we're always bowing. In Mongolian culture, for example, we don't really have a culture of bowing because we're very prideful people. But when we are in meetings or in events with Japanese or Korean, or we usually adhere to their etiquette, where it's a very normal and respectful way to greet someone or bid them farewell. And we're quite easily adaptable to start bowing. But in other Asian countries, especially in the southeast of Asia, that's not very customary. And so you have to be careful of what kind of cultures and which countries that you are dealing with in order to create rapport and kind of copy or do as they do. In communications, using those abbreviations and letters, it's very important in the communications, because in most communications in the national and international level, everyone is trying very hard to upkeep that protocol. So when someone is not trying, because they could make a mistake, but if they're seen as not trying, then that seems like a negative point. So it's always good to try to keep up with good protocol when you're having especially official communications. But even in unofficial communications, you should use those titles like VP, CP, LP, NP, because even in unofficial events and meetings and communications, when you don't use it, it seems like you don't have protocol. And in Mongolia, we're always reminded the place that tests the most protocol is unofficial events and meetings. Because most people, they say, oh, this is an unofficial meeting, so I'll just be myself, or I won't use any protocol. And then that's usually when people, especially those who have spent quite a few years in JCI, that's when they gauge if someone has good potential to become a good JCI member. I think earlier someone mentioned that the seating and the arrangement is quite important, or wanted to learn more about that. And next, we have a small quiz, and please feel free to join in, participate in this very small quiz. And you can see that there is numbers from 1 to 9. So 9-member, let's say, meeting who are going to, they are from the same organization, and they will be sitting at the table for, let's say, a joint board meeting. I would ask maybe 3 people to have a guess about which person or title would be sitting at which number. So let's say if someone chooses one title and they choose a number and it's correct, we will choose other titles and see how you place the others on the seating. So you can see from this example, we have the national president sitting in the center, then the national secretary on the side of the vice president, but you see that the vice presidents are together. And on the other side, you have the immediate past president and the executive vice president, and then the 2 other appointed committee members. And in order to keep the balance where the national president is always sitting in the center. And here you can see national board meeting setup. Usually the national board is sitting on one side, and then the local presidents are sitting on one side, and sub-organizational structure members such as committee members. In the case of JCI Mongolia, we usually have our national board sitting here on the left, and the local president sitting here on the right. The executive committee is sitting on the main table, according to that order we just looked, and the JCI Mongolia Academy or Mongolia Development Council or awards committee members or those members are sitting behind the national board, behind the main table. And sometimes the local presidents, local organizations, they might include their vice presidents or other executive committee members or those directors in charge of certain projects and programs that they will be doing presentations or reporting on. Who are in attendance of the national board meeting, they will be sitting behind the local presidents. And here you can see a seating chart of a theater hall, where the national president is usually sitting on the seat that is, as you can see here, in the middle column on the right, and then followed by the local president or the organizing organization, and IPP and VP, and the other side is exclusively VIP or national past presidents or past presidents. And then it goes on to the one side is the local presidents, and one side, the second row, is filled with the national organization executive committee members or national board directors. And then you have senators and members. General Assembly seating chart is usually the executive committee is on stage or on an elevated table, and there is a table for each local organization where the local president sits with the executive vice president. And the reason why the executive vice president is usually sitting together is in JCI, we have a rule that says the executive vice president should have undeterred access to learn, undeterred opportunity to learn from the local president, since they are usually the ones continuing and taking the local president or the president role the next year. And that's why they are usually seated together in terms of discussing and giving the voting and taking part in the General Assembly. Do you know why we usually keep to this strong seating arrangements in meetings and also in these kind of event theater hall seating chart or General Assembly seating chart? Do you know? Could you tell me why we keep to this very strict, strong protocol? JCI is a place for leaders where we could be free to have opportunities to learn. Why not maybe a new member or potential member or a local board member sit in the front to get a better view or hear better from the stage? Why do we keep to these strict protocol seating?
Maybe in this way we can understand who is who. So even though I don't know the face of the people, I can understand their titles.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Eko. So that we can clearly see who is who, we can clearly identify who is the honored guest or VIP guest, the national president, local presidents, or national board level members. and senators. And this is a way for us to easily identify those who are in attendance, who are participating, and adheres to JCI's principle of trying to give our members all the different perspectives. So, like how we start with being a potential member and becoming a member, then we're a local board director, then maybe we're in the local executive committee, and perhaps we work on the national board, becoming a local president. So each of those steps gives our members a different perspective in how to see, depending on the level and position, but also in the roles they have. And this is represented in the seating, where you start off towards the back, and if you're following a JCI career, usually you're progressing down the rows until finally you're sitting in the front row. Yeah, and this is just giving like a mirrored image of how maybe perhaps a joint board meeting setup would be. It's, keeping to the earlier example, where the national president is, or local president is sitting in the middle. And this is in case of perhaps more roundtable casual setting, or in dinner situations where the host is taking out the guests after the official meetings. And like we said, in unofficial settings, we're also trying to keep up with protocol. Now, the photo protocol, our JCI Bucharest president was mentioning earlier, we are keeping more to the official protocol seating arrangement. So if it's a few members or just the executive committee, they would be in the same order as if they were having the meeting. But on a larger numbers, where they are including different organizations or different like local organization and national organization members having a photo together. Usually the national president, local presidents are towards the middle, past presidents, senators, VIPs are towards the middle. And we try to keep men at the ends of the photos, so that they are kind of like closing the photo, so we don't have women at the ends. But this does not have to be adhered to strictly. I mean, some cases, you could say the idea is from like men protecting women, right? So in some organizations, you could say, oh no, women, men, we're equal, so it's okay for women to be standing at the edge. And you can see in these photo examples, the top right, for example, is just a recent visit to JCI Hong Kong on the way to JCI Macau for the Senate, Asia Pacific Senate Golf, where, on one end you have the female member. Also, this is a continuation from how we were saying we have banners, signage picking up from the airport. You can have small signs like the Hong Kong example, very long, large sign like the Korea example at the bottom right, or the kind of something in between like the Mongolia example on the left. And this is in 2022 when our CL and IPP Christina came to Mongolia for the first time to participate in our national inauguration ceremony. And before the ceremony, we had official meetings. And we're here in this example, we have just the national president seated, and the TV is showing, what kind of meeting it is. And this is just, as a reminder, like, so we can use it as a report or information for our members, and not just for national members, but also for JCI. And on the right, you can see our national president of 2023 sitting right in the middle. And next to that, our special guest at the time, JCI Romania national president, Christina. And you have, this is a handover meeting of our national boards of 2022 and 2023. So on the left side, you have the 2022 national board members. And on the right, you have 2023 JCI Mongolia national board members. Executive committee is sitting, and then the directors are standing behind. LP Elena, you have your hand up?
Yes, I just want to ask you a question. And head trainer Sam, I want to apologize first if it's something cultural or
JCI style because I always admired your photo, like from that part of JCI, because I am a fan of protocol, and I'm discovering that I learn more every time it's presented to me. And I want to ask you for the photo protocol. I saw that in Europe, when we make a group photo, we are hanging on each other and so on. Maybe, I don't know if it happens in other parts, but I saw in your photos like this one, or you are standing, you are seated, that your hand is like in front. And I saw that when our JCA president invited went to visit in Constanza, and I learned a lot from that visit. And he always said like that with the hand. So is this a JCI protocol, or is it something cultural? I want to know.
So we are taught this in JCI, and the reason why we do that is you can see from the photo, those who are seated at the front, only two people have their hands unclenched, and that is our CL Christina and one of our vice presidents in the who's fourth from the right, who's sitting. So the reason why it's not like something very official, but it's just a visual thing where if your hands are clenched, it looks more clean. And if your hands are unclenched, it looks like a claw. And it's purely a visual thing, but we are taught this in CI.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Because there are a lot of questions now, like we have like protocol for everything. If we are paying attention and try to implement them more, I'm sure that they have a meaning. Thank you so much.
And I think Oiko has her hand up.
Yeah, actually in Turkey, we have a kind of secret code between the presidents. If in the photo, someone is sitting and if their legs are crossed in a certain way, that means they are presidents or past presidents. So you can understand, it can be local or national president, doesn't matter. You can understand all the presidents in the photo. I think it's just kind of a cultural or maybe fun thing to do.
Yeah, so that can be a good idea that other national organizations or local organizations can copy, because it is also another way of clearly signifying who is local presidents and or who is presidents, past or present, right?
Yeah, and they don't tell until you become president.
Yeah, so it's like also a nice status kind of thing. If you're
exactly.
You are the boss, or you used to be the boss.
No, I didn't actually, but I'm so curious person, so I always ask questions and they told me.
Yeah, thank you. So it's usually supposed to be like their secret sign, right? And you ask questions. Now everyone on this training knows.
Now everyone in Europe knows that.
Okay. Now people in Asia will start to know. And here you have example of JCI Turkey, where they have uniform merchandise or clothing that, especially on international visits, you can show or represent your country. Here, the national president is in the middle. His spouse is next to him. On the other side, you have a JCI vice president. So those who are deemed important VIP, they are usually in the center. And sometimes they can be, doesn't have to be in the front row, but still, even if they're in the second or third row, they are kept in the middle. I can see in front the national president in 2022, Fatih, and also the national president for 2023, Fatih as well, right behind him. But he's kept in the center as national executive vice president. And on the right, you see pictures of gifting for special guests or visitors, and usually it's the host and SG or someone who is directing the meeting or event, together with the special guest, to hand them the gift and take in a photo. Flag placements. we always keep the national flag on the left and the national organization or local organization flag on the right of the screen or stage. And in the case where there is no screen or stage and the meeting is happening without the stage or screen being involved, usually the flags are put in order, starting from the left with the national flag and the national organization flag, and then the local chapter, local organization flags are in order of their establishment. So in this case, you can see that this is example from 2021, where we had 15 local organizations and everyone is stacked in the order of their establishment. In dress codes, also, like with putting one leg over the other in some photos, the name tags, the color of the name tags, and the pins that you use on your label, those signify which level of the organization you are in or what kind of role you are executing within JCI. For example, you can see here on the bottom right, most JCI Mongolia local organization name tags are in this blue hue color, and national organization, national board, national executive committee members, and local presidents have this gold nameplate, which is a bit larger. And you can see on the top right, more silver, lighter colored one is those national organizations, sub-organizational committee members. You can see for even casual, more, travel, local activity or national activity, clothing can be like the example on the left, where this one is one of the merchandise for promoting the 25 ASPAC in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, with the camel and the Mongolian flag on one of the arms. And this is, distributed to all JCI Mongolia members during 2023 ASPAC in Indonesia, so that we could look uniform, but in a more warmer climate, more thinner clothing. So we have less layers, just using the polo t-shirt style. And here in the middle, what I'm wearing on the left is the JCI Mongolia trainers uniform. And on the right is our JCI Mongolia 2023 chairperson handing out our official trainer certificates with our stars. I'm a 2-star trainer. And on the right, you can see you have more formal black tie and chain ceremony, gala event kind of dress code. Here, usually, as you can see in the background on the left is our IPP for JCI Progress. He has a black tie dress code, but I chose to wear the board ties we use for JCI Progress in our special local organization color, and not just to use a black tie, because most others, including the board, we were wearing that orange tie that day. Please share any thoughts of what you've learned so far about JCI Protocol and why you think it is important.
Actually, I'm so happy to learn all of those things because as our local organization, we are preparing the CYE Summit and Creative Leadership Summit. So we will have a huge protocol in our city soon, end of the April. And it's so important to learn those things, I believe, because it shows elegancy. And we can show the others that we know the protocol, we know to JCI, and they would be happier that we learn that. So thank you for all the information.
Well, first of all, thank you for your time and your dedication. For me, even if I'm in JCI for 3.5 years now, I have to admit that first time when I saw this JCI protocol was last year. And I'm sure that this protocol is not only to make sure that you give a good impression, or that everything will go smooth, and to show respect to the other parties, but also when applied, as I saw, it helped me become better in my society behavior. I learned a lot because maybe we don't have that kind of education, and I think that this JCI protocol, it's a must to apply it in professional way, in, I don't know, personal way, and so on. So this is the insight for me at this moment.
Thank you, Elena. So we can use JCI protocol not just within JCI events and meetings, but in our own
Yes.
personal lives and professional lives as well, and could be useful and in determining, what kind of character and person you are. Thank you very much, Loredana.
Thank you.
For me, using protocol is first of all a sign of respect towards the others. So I think it's very important, and moreover, it is helpful in order for us to organize better for the meetings, for the events, and in this way everything goes smoothly. And thank you for the training, Sam.
Thank you, Loredana. We can use the protocol as a guidebook in creating kind of more uniform meetings and events, so that we don't have to invent a new way of meeting or organizing an event every single time, depending on what it is, right? Thank you. Okay, Andrea, LP Andrea.
Yes, hello. So first of all, thank you so much for now understanding better how to make a picture and how to to be arranged during a picture. I would like to also thank you, my dear colleagues, that have been made this training happening. So Christina, Magda, Lore, Elena from JCI Bucharest, and specifically JCI Romania. And looking forward to see you, Samadi, once again in Romania. So you are already closer, I may say, a friend of us, and we are happy to be taught by you. So thank you again.
Thank you very much, LP Andrea. Thank you for coming for the training and always supporting our cooperation.
Well, thank you for the quality of this presentation. It's the second time now that I'm attending it. The first one was in Constanța. So thank you, dear Romanian colleagues, for organizing this, and well done for the MAR Academy. Really, it's a very good idea, and it's a very good project that most should take example. So thank you, Sam, for your dedication. And apart from that, I really agree with Loredana, because I do apply it too now for my professional life, and especially here in the Principality, where there's a lot of protocol. Now I'm like a fish in the sea, and some official people are telling me, you're doing this like super naturally, and thank you, JCI, for that. And I really encourage you to do the transmission with your members, even the younger ones, because it will permit them to grow faster and in a safe place and safe way. So thank you very much, Sam, for your time and dedication.
Thank you, Tiara Marie. It's very good for us to practice, and because during our year or multiple years, we're doing so many events and organizing so many meetings, it becomes almost second nature. And those who do not learn as we do in JCI, they can really tell if someone has had the experience, and it also gives a sort of personal gravitas when we're meeting people outside, or in our own personal or professional lives. Thank you.
I'm so happy to attend this this meeting, because we are currently have another meeting right now. And then, well, well, this meeting, this training is actually, you know, I was very feel helpful for me for attend this training since I'm organizing a World Congress this year. And then, yes, so I feel very helpful and learn a lot from you, and also very exciting to see you around this full area conference and the end of this year World Congress in Taiwan. Welcome to Taiwan. Thank you very much.
First of all, thank you for organizing this type of trainings. It's very useful, and you make our life easier by teaching people how to proceed in meetings and events and in JCI gatherings, because all the questions are directed to us. How should I stay in the picture? How should I address? What's the order in the script? And so on. And just a suggestion, after this kind of meeting, if you can give us some guidelines to use and to share with members through our newsletter, it will be great from our part to have it and share your work and reach more people with the knowledge. Thank you so much for having me, and I wish you good luck for the training. And please invite me for the further initiatives. I will be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
So I would like to thank you to trainer for the important information that I got throughout this training. I didn't know about the academy, so I was just scrolling on Facebook and I got the event, and it was like a good idea to take the initiative to do that. So throughout this training, I really got a more wide idea about the protocol. I didn't know about certain titles since it's at the international and the national level. So I learned about them through this training. I also learned more about the importance of the protocol. It gives, I think, more meaning, more high level to our events and our meetings. And it's important to know more about it and to apply it in local and national organization. So thank you for this training. Thank you for the important information. And I look forward to attend more trainings and to learn more. Thank you.
Thank you, Nada, for also being so active in our training. And as you mentioned, that our protocol training and adhering to JCI protocols can also increase the quality of our meetings and events. So that can be very useful in the future when we're organizing other meetings and events. Thank you.
So thank you for the quality of the presentation. As we know, protocol is the touch of JCI and to make the difference among other organizations. And through this presentation, I learned how the board is set and who is sitting where and how to be present and during the event, how to welcome the VPI, the VIP person, and etc. And thank you for the quality of the presentation. And you are welcome next year in Tunisia, the World Congress. See you there, inshallah.
Thank you very much. So, we can learn a lot through different processes of adhering to the protocol, from receiving guests to how we greet them and, directing them to where they should sit. And the main goal of our JCI protocol is for everyone to be on the same page, for everyone to feel comfortable, for everyone to easily recognize each other and be able to communicate with each other in our own language. So it's easy. It doesn't require so much language abilities because we have our own language. And this keeps things simple and easy. And keeping one uniform protocol across all our JCI organizations allows us to better understand, better communicate, better cooperate, and work towards our common mission and vision. So I'd like to end our training here. Thank you very much for everyone making the time and also being so active in participation, especially to Oiku, Nada, and Salma, And special Loredana as well towards the end. Nice points. And our LP Lina and TR Marie also for being so active. And I want to give a special thanks to our EDC CL, JCI Romania National Immediate Past President, Christina, for this amazing presentation. And because she was one of the key people to have prepared it from scratch. And also my assistant trainer, Magda, for helping with the preparation and the presentation and the group exercises that we did during the training. I really want to give a special highlight to JCI Romania, the Mongolia Academy established in Romania, MAR, for being so active at, since in such a short space of time from being established to already conducting cross-area trainings. Very admirable and very inspirational for JCI Mongolia Academy, for us to continue to better ourselves. And so special thanks to JCI Romania. And I wish good luck for everyone in their JCI career, but also their personal careers. And hope you adhere to good protocol standards so that you will always leave a very lasting impression for everyone. Well, there's a very nice quote that JCI Romania has included, which is how you handle yourself speaks volumes to the level of understanding and experience you have. So keeping to protocol is a statement on the kind of person you are for others. And I hope that you all show very high understanding and experience to all. And lastly, I would ask all our participants to scan this QR code. JCI Mongolia Academy, we receive feedback on all our trainings, so our trainings could improve for the future and our trainers could learn from their trainings. Because in JCI, most of us are doing work that is not their core competency or their expertise, but we're all trying different things to learn by doing and from learning from others. And so your feedback will be essential for me to become a better trainer and for JCI Mongolia to conduct better trainings, and also in this case are cooperating with JCI Romania's MAR for us to continue to conduct better trainings in JCI Europe and Asia. So if everyone could turn on their cameras, we'll have a group photo. Like we said many times during the training, no photo means didn't happen. And most importantly, 2025 ASPAC in Ulaanbaatar next year.